I will now be starting off soldering all the tiny little pieces on the middle board. Make sure you've got all the soldering things that you need. You know, soldering iron, flux capacitor, core solder. No, just kidding. It's rosin core solder. All the pieces, some instructions, a grumpy child. Yeah, that's all necessary. I also have this little plate over here I'm going to put all of the tiny little pieces on. Make sure you've got some tweezers, and we'll be off. There's a very strict warning on this build that says that once you get it all soldered together, there's pretty much no going back. So we're going to have to make sure we test as we go. So here are the boards. You can flip them over, and they've got the same stuff on both sides. So just make sure you don't solder them both left-handed or both right-handed, because they can go that direction. And so step one is soldering on the diodes, the Pro Micro, and the headphone jacks on the middle board. This is the middle board. You can tell it's the middle board because it's got the square openings. And the diodes are the ones that come in the black package here. We're going to pull all those out. And they have a line on one side. The line needs to go on the side that's got the line on it. So you see right in here has an arrow and then a line. It's supposed to be an arrow and a line. It might not actually look to you like an arrow and a line, but that's what it's supposed to be. So here it's got something to go crooked. Those are actually easier to see the arrow than the line. The line goes on that side, not on this side. Simple enough. Alright, so I've started a little bit on here, and those things are really tiny. So there's a line on one side of them that's supposed to help indicate which direction it's supposed to go, and they are really, really, really tiny. And you have to get them in just the right light in order to actually see the lines, and my solders are not fantastic, but they'll do. So you can't even see those lines on here, but so what I've done is I got this flashlight, and if you get the light angles just right, you can actually see the lines on one side of them. There's like paint, it has like a 1W and a line on one side. But better than that is once you've got them soldered in place, if you've got one of these, you can set it to the diode setting. And I don't know if I can't really do this unless I have three hands, but you put the negative lead, you can follow this line right along here, goes into this one. So you just hold that one in there, and if you're holding that one there, then you get the other lead, and you put the other lead where the other side of this diode comes out, so in this case right here, and then right there. Every time you touch one of those, this should jump up to like some amount of volts that just turned off. Did I just lose battery? Well, yeah. If you reverse it, then nothing should go through. That's how the diodes work. They just make sure that power goes in one direction. So that's how to verify. I've been verifying them as I go, and it's going to be a long afternoon. All right. So, got all the diodes on and tested, and I found a few tips that will help out. Firstly, if you want to actually see the little line on it, if you get a light like this, and you put it at a really, really steep angle, then it makes it so that you can actually see the line very faintly, better than any other method that I've found. Secondly, if you take a look at the video that they have on the how-to guide on how to do the soldering, they put a little bit of solder on one side and attach it, and they put solder on both sides. You attach it to one side and then you melt down the other side. It works like a charm. It actually went way faster than I thought it would. They're not beautiful solders, but you know, I guess I'll get better and better, and then eventually they'll all be awesome. Okay, so next up, headphone jack. Alright, So we got the jack installed there. Just took a handful of solders here, and then the Arduino, use the headers right through there, all the way across the top and the bottom, and we're set. Now I just need to do the same thing on the right hand. Be sure to test all of your capacitors, and then at this point I think we're going to have to go in and flash the Arduino and make sure that everything checks out. Alright, so the second board went way faster than the first board just because practice. So those are all in there. And on the right side, the Arduino actually needs to be upside down. So yeah, that'll be upside down. And then the other thing that I didn't mention last time, but is very important, is connecting up these solder joints here, following the lines that are next to them. So there's a little white line right there, so you connect those two, a little white line right there, connect those two. That's to make sure that power can get from the Arduino through the 3.5mm jack, just with all the little pieces in there. So, I checked out all of my diodes on the right side, and they appear to be working just fine. It just flew. It went way, way faster than the first one. So that's it for now. And after that, we'll be working on, I guess, the bottom board with all the LEDs on it.